An old peach tree here.
There's a little bumblebee.
Yeah, they're all
Right
over.
there.
Got little bees and big bees. They're full of bees.
All right, well, welcome to Shedwars Team Aquarius. This is Amy, and Danny's here with me too from Homestead DNA. We just wanted to take a few minutes today and show you how we plant peas and some helpful information and tips and tricks when you get started as well. The good thing about peas is that it is very simple, and it is also a great early spring crop that you can plant. I think yesterday was the first day of spring here.
Come on, me.
Okay, I won't mind that. Yesterday was the first day of spring, and we're putting these in. We could probably even have put them in a couple weeks ago, but we were just taking our time getting our trellising ready and getting the ground ready. So I wanted to show you what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. So today we've got our cattle panel trellis. If you missed the video on that, we have it from, I guess, a week or two ago of us putting this up. You can see how we did it. There's 7 cattle panels here that equal about 30 feet in length. You certainly don't have to use something as robust as a cattle panel trellis for peas. We just are because that's the trellis that we happen to have up, and we'll have time to let these grow and be useful before all of our summer crops are ready to go on the ground. So today we are planting. Today we're planting 3 different varieties. So here's our first variety. It's Haas Mr. Big Pea. That's a shelling type pea. We also have some leftover peas I wanted to go ahead and get used up. Progress number 9. This is also a shelling pea. And then Super Sugar Snap. This is a sugar snap pea. There's one other variety that we're not planting, or one other type of pea that we're not planting today. It's called a snow pea. Those are the peas that stay flat, where the beans or the bean pods inside never actually develop. So shelling peas are used for the peas inside, not to eat the outside hull. And then sugar snap peas are used, the whole pea and the shell pod are eaten. So we've got these 2 different kinds to go in, and that's what we'll be doing today.
So let's talk quickly about what do you need to plant them? What nutrients do you need? Do you need to put fertilizer in? So there's peas by themselves. These are nitrogen fixing plants, so they can actually scavenge nutrients from the soil. In order to scavenge the nutrients, it's actually using bacteria in the soil. And if the soil's not warm enough, the bacteria won't be active in the soil. So you want to give it some nutrients so that it can actually go through that. So if you're putting your peas in the ground, you're probably going to be fine. There's bacteria that already exists in the ground. The only time you might need to add bacteria is if you're using like sterile potting soil or something like that, where you might have to add bacteria to it. We'll put that in the description, the name of the bacteria, because I don't really want to pronounce it, but it sounds like something out of a Harry Potter movie. But basically, we're going to just plant this in the ground here, and we're not going to add anything to it. So we're going to go ahead and just put it in the ground.
So they can germinate in soil as low as 40 degrees. So their optimum temperature is somewhere between 40 and 75 degrees. I think our soil temperature has been in the low 60s this last week.
Down a little bit more
right.
last night.
So yeah, you can plant it in much colder weather than this. We're still 7 weeks out from our last frost, so it's definitely going to experience some frost out here. I think what I was reading as far as germination rates, like if you try to plant them super early, that's fine, but it's going to take 2 to 3 times as long to germinate. And you'll probably result in having peas a week or 2 sooner than if you plant them a little bit later.
Right.
In the temperature that we're planting our peas in today, the soil temperature, these should germinate in like 5 to 9 days. So I'll just go ahead and wait a couple extra weeks, put them in the ground, and they'll germinate faster. You'll likely have less loss from peas not germinating, so you'll get more peas in the end. The one thing you want to kind of watch out for is just to try to plant them early, still plant them in this time frame, because if you plant them too late, then by the time that they're ready to start producing peas, it's going to be hot and the plant pretty much dies off. So you still get a second chance in the fall, but if you want sweet peas instead of kind of bitter peas, go ahead and get them in now before the plant stops wanting to grow.
So you definitely want to just think about your area, whatever zone you're in, and plant it accordingly to that. What's the germination rate on those guys? 60 90. Days?
The germination rate is 94%.
I'm sorry. Days to maturity.
Yeah, days maturity is 60 to 65 days for these.
Yeah. So just think about that. If your summer is going to come on hot in April, then you really are planting them in February probably at that point. But ours is coming on hot in June, July time frame.
And I checked the maturity for this for our areas like May 20th.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2, 3, 4 weeks where we'll still have it growing.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, and you'll get quite a bit off of these as well. So yeah, just kind of plan that out. That it's going to take 2 months. Really, with all these seeds, that's the biggest thing, is make sure you look at when can you plant them, how long are they going to take to mature, and then you have to make a decision on, think about, is it a long season crop where it's constantly producing, or is it a one-time crop? Peas they produce for a while, but they will die back when it gets too hot. I think though, if you lived in a kind of cooler place, you could probably grow them all summer. Mm-hmm. But most places you're growing them in they're just going to die back once it gets too hot.
Yeah.
So
well, let's show him how we plant them. All right, so he is drawing a line right next to the trellis. We plant peas about 1 inch deep. This is much easier than planting each individual pea. Got an extra string there hanging out. He's trying his best, guys.
Straight lines are hard.
They are hard. All right, so I'm just going to start planting these out. We've got our furrow drawn right next to the trellis. And just another quick note about trellising, peas can actually grow without the trellis at all. This is more just for the ease of picking. They like to grow up a trellis, but they'll be just fine without anything. And it can also be a pretty wimpy trellis. If you don't have much, it can be old brush it'll grow against, or chicken netting. Don't overthink your trellis. The neat thing about planting peas is you can plant them so close together. I can't hardly think of any other plants that you can plant as close together as peas. They say spacing is like 1 to 2 inches, so we're just going to keep it really close. Because we do have this trellis, they'll be able to grow up and have plenty of room. So I'll show you that. All right,
what are we doing first?
I'm going to start with Mr. Big P, Haas Tools. And another note about planting peas, something I did on advice of the internet last year was I soaked the peas for a couple hours beforehand. We had great peas last year. We didn't have any issues. But on doing more research, anyone that has kind of done the experiment of do you soak peas, do you not soak peas, they've found that the results were all basically the same no matter what you did. So we're not going to go through the extra trouble of soaking them.
It makes you feel better, do it. But.
Yeah, there's the peas right there. So I'm just going to put them in. It's basically 1 inch spacing. Just eyeballing it. I start out pretty good at planting, and then the further I go, the worse it gets.
once you start getting your hand gets tired of doing it,
You're like, ah.
just throw these things in here. It's gonna be thicker towards the middle. It's fine. For Shedwars purposes, these aren't going to give us a ton of weight because they're pretty light, but they're definitely good to eat.
Well, and John, we're not leaving any weight on the table this year, so we figured we'd go ahead and plant what we got.
Yep. We got to find some good recipes. Let us know in the comments if you have any good recipes or any, any things you like, how you like to eat your peas. We should have plenty.
Yeah, I'm actually not a huge fan of shelling peas. They're decent, like fresh in a salad, but most of my experience with them growing up was in a can, and that's not all that great to me. So I'm excited to get creative and find something that works. Because the flavor is good, but I just don't like canned peas.
That's because you weren't canning them.
I know.
You have to can them, and then they'll be delicious.
Well, from what I understand, they taste best frozen.
Yeah.
Where you freeze them instead of can them. So that's what we're going to try.
Are you on the second bag?
And I'm still on the first bag. We're going to run out of trellis. Hostiles put too many seeds in here.
Yeah.
Well, worst case, I'll just do the other, the snow peas, or the snap peas in here.
Yeah. Jeez, that is a lot. I thought...
There's supposed to be 250.
Oh, well, okay.
But this is plenty of trellis. This is like 400 inches of trellis. So we'll start planting them extra thick. So I switched now over to the super sugar snaps, and I gave myself like 6 inches space to hopefully remind myself that this is a different variety. So once we're done with this, we'll just go back through with a hoe and cover them over and then water them in. And in about a week or so, we'll see them start to pop up. And we'll keep you updated on their progress.
We do this every year, though. We think that we don't have enough seeds, and we have tons of seeds.
Well, I have twice as many pea seed packets inside, but I figured I'd save some for the fall.
Oh, okay.
Don't get too worried. There's more.
So how many do you think that is? How many pea plants? 500-ish?
250. This is not another pack of 250. Maybe 100 in that one. So maybe 350 pea plants.
Homestead Aquarius.
Yep.
Again, who took a chance on us again because we failed last year. But we have a lot of potential. That's what I think he said.
So much potential.
And he's right.
That's what they've been saying about you this whole time.
That's what a lot of people have been saying about me.
So much
life.
potential.
So much potential. But
these next 2.5, 3 weeks is just going to be filled with planting and prepping beds. So we'll take you along for that so you can see what we're doing. But we hope this encouraged you to go ahead and get out there. And even if you feel like it's too cold, get something in the ground. It'll grow.
Yep. Eventually.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all we're going to talk about for today with peas. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, let us know in the comment section below. And we're happy to have you around. And we're really excited about getting this Shedwars season going because we got a lot of garden here and a lot of food to plant. And we're going to grow as much as we can this year.
Yep. Ready to get rocking.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.